Hi, my name's Joseph Carr. This is my oral speech report for Drama-030. I'm going to talk to you about my great-grandfather. He was an Italian immigrant who came over with his family. Overall, I don't think it was a very hard struggle compared to other immigrants from other areas, partly because of how, he moved to Philadelphia at a pretty young age with his family. He's originally, let me get this straight, he's originally from Portofino, Italy. He moved very young age, moved to Philadelphia in an Italian neighborhood, so there wasn't too much different for him. He was a Roman Catholic. Pretty much everyone in his neighborhood was. Most Italians at the time were. A very tight-knit, family-oriented group. So I would say, most of the easier part of it was that, he was very young. His entire family immigrated together, unlike, let's say immigrants coming from Mexico, having issues with their visas, trying to get across, having to split the family up and try to get here. Yeah, he was lucky enough pretty much to go as a group. Middle class, right? He was a middle class family. It wasn't he didn't have a lot of money, but they weren't poor at the time, so he fit in well with the area that he lived in. Most of the Italians in that neighborhood were middle class, so I think he was lucky enough, fortunate enough to have that happen to him. He also was very good at baseball. He was very good at baseball. Got drafted by the Phillies. Went to their camp, and that was a good thing for him because of his peers. Since his peers kind of looked up to him. The fact that he's doing an American sport, kind of taking the American dream very seriously, especially by his parents. It was a good thing. So he earned a lot of respect, especially from the other families in the neighborhood. It was a good thing for him. Unfortunately, he got injured, so he had to go to work with his father, and he was known as a hard worker. So that was another easier thing for him. So overall, it was pretty easy. He was also the oldest of his siblings. He had 3 other siblings, 2 brothers and a sister. Which pretty much, if you're the oldest of the siblings, you get automatic respect for the most part. As he would tell me, they looked up to him because he provided, as his mom kind of did the cooking and cleaning, but like on the streets with his, looking after his brothers, for sure. Yeah, for holidays, he didn't really have to go out of that Italian neighborhood. They had block parties. Everything was traditional Italian food, so he didn't have to try new Italian food. Everything was pretty much what it was like in the old country, as he would tell me. So yeah, overall, easier time. Some struggles though. Apparently he had one of the personal issues for him was he had little respect for non-Italians, especially authority figures. Since he wasn't around them all the time, and from my understanding, what he would tell me is that they just didn't really understand this culture, like how tight-knit of a family culture that is. Like, for instance, he went to Catholic school, and some of the nuns weren't, Italian, and they would be telling him, "Jimmy, you got to do this. You're not doing this right. I know your family wants you to throw this, event for you, but it's not very Catholic or in the American sense," is what he would tell me, even though that was a typical tradition they would do. So he pretty much just didn't listen to him. Didn't listen to the nuns. Kind of grew a little way from the Catholic Church at the time. And he told me he struggled with it when he was younger. It wasn't like crazy hard for him to get over, but you know, it was definitely difficult. You know, something that everyone went through at the time was the Great Depression. That's just not just for Italians, that's for everybody, but it was definitely a struggle. He'd tell me stories of him playing a stickball and then having to cut the actual baseball in half when he was a little kid, just to save money, save the ball. You know, you lose one, you can't go buy another baseball back then, right, as a kid, so. Another struggle for him and as an immigration issue, and he joined up in World War II as a young man, and he was a frontline soldier, and it was difficult for him because those weren't, you know, Italian descent, which there wasn't a lot of. It was, you know, everybody was mixed up fairly well, so he would tell me, like, they'd get his name wrong, they would make fun of him because of his name, they called him, you know, derogatory names like a wop as an Italian, and so his original name was Di Girolamo, and they changed it to Jerome because of the whole World War II incident of them, you know, constantly messing up his name and making fun of him for it, so it was just shortened, got it over with. Yeah, so overall, definitely a much easier time than most immigrants coming, you know, immigrating towards this country, especially mostly because of his age and him being the oldest of the siblings and taking up sports, such American sports, such as baseball, so it was easier for him.